Once you have your topography where you want it, you can add areas to your topography. This means delineating the different zones, the material zones that occur on that topography. Now, often this is problematic because you're creating a mesh or a set of surfaces and then you're trying to trim everything. And then every time you want to make changes to your topography, you have a lot of disjointed meshes or edges that don't match up. Well, we have some tools for creating areas. And the way that those work, let me hide our preview for a second, is that we draw those areas in plan using surfaces. So you would simply draw a surface. I can make a plane. And then I can draw a curve. Let's do a circle. And I can trim this surface. Trim. We select object to trim. Something's funny. Let's select, trim, and then we'll trim that. Okay, there we go. So we hit escape and we've trimmed a surface. So if you have any curves drawn, you can trim the surface this way. You can also untrim. So there's something very nice here about this. And that allows you to more simply, let's just create a new file here so we can see what's happening, to very simply create these surfaces that are flat. And you're not thinking about how are they going to, or you're not thinking about the difficulty of building them in 3D. LandKit will do that for you. So just a review of how this works. We have topography coming in using a geoset that's being built and drawn. And we have a topo mesh, which is also being used here in this lower workflow, and we'll look at that. And we're cutting contours through our topography. If we look here, all of our area surfaces that we've drawn are being brought in despite which layer they are underneath areas. So this means use the parent layer, and any of the layers underneath, use all of them. So if I minimize this and look at my layers, I have areas that are defined by different types of material or planting material. And then those get pulled in. We start by removing any bad geometry, just in case we have a bad surface or something like that. We pull out the object details, and this is a native Grasshopper component. We're using the layer and the color. We build or create our areas using settings similar to the way that we might draw our topo. So we have a distance tolerance and an edge tolerance for our areas, and that can be changed to change the fidelity of our areas when they're finally drawn. And then we use that topo mesh as an input to draw our areas. We can get out of this flat meshes, projected meshes, the layers, and the colors. And the reason we ingest and spit out these colors and layers is because sometimes these surfaces get split if they have a hole in them, or if something goes wrong. We will always have those colors and layers arranged in the same way that our projected meshes are. And then we can preview those. And those meshes are visible, and then we can bake them. If I say activate, these are now the meshes that we created. And as you can see, it's following that topography very closely. So if I measure the distance from one point to another, I might need to turn on vertex snapping. So if I go from here to here, that's 5 feet. And if we go back here and notice our edge tolerance was 5 feet. So if I say undo and I change this to 3 feet, it takes a second longer. And then if we bake, you can see that the tolerances are a bit tighter on our surfaces. So you can really dial in the fidelity of your areas by changing those settings, and you can continuously, if I undo, you can continuously manipulate your topography while you are looking at your areas. We may have to hit refresh on our topo if we're making any changes, if you remember. So we make a quick update to the topography, and those areas are changing as well. Like, for example, if I delete these break lines and I refresh, you can see how that impacts our topography and our areas that are projected.